Some truths do not arrive with fanfare. They do not storm the stage of your life with noise and spectacle. They wait quietly beneath the surface of your everyday thoughts, underneath your worries and routines, like a vast ocean lying still beneath a restless wave. One of those truths is moving within you now, even as you listen to these words. It is ancient, yet completely new the moment you recognize it. It is this: there is a silent power within you that has been creating your life all along, and it is ready to heal, not as a theory, not as a poetic metaphor, but as a living reality, as close to you as your next breath, as immediate as your next thought. This power is your subconscious mind, the invisible architect of your experience, the quiet engine that never sleeps. While you were busy surviving the day, it was busy following instructions you did not know you were giving. Every mood became a command. Every belief became a blueprint. Every repeated thought became a law it took as absolute. You can think of your conscious mind as the captain on the bridge of a great ship, speaking words and directions into the air. And your subconscious mind, deep below deck, is the silent crew, the engine room, the power plant. It does not argue. It does not reason. It does not question the captain's orders. It simply obeys with flawless precision. If the captain says, "We are lost," the crew will behave as though lost. If the captain says, "Nothing ever works out for me," the crew will steer accordingly, not because it wishes you harm, but because that is the instruction it received. And for years, perhaps for a lifetime, you may have been that captain, speaking words of limitation, picturing worst-case scenarios, repeating silent assumptions taught to you by anxious parents, frightened teachers, wounded societies. You may wake in the morning with a heaviness in your chest. Think, "Here we go again," not realizing that this simple phrase is an order, a decree, an inner prayer that the subconscious accepts as a program. Right now, as you hear these words, your subconscious is listening. It is listening not only to the sound of the sentences, but to the feelings rising in you as you hear them. It responds to emotion the way a seed responds to rich soil. Whatever you soak in feeling, it grows. Consider for a moment how your body behaves when you are afraid. The heart beats faster, the breath becomes shallow, muscles tense, the gut tightens. The nervous system floods the body with signals to prepare for danger. Neuroscience calls this survival mode, the activation of circuits that have evolved to protect you. But notice something deeper. Your body did not wait for the danger to arrive. It reacted to the picture in your mind, to the story you told yourself. You imagined what might happen, you believed your thought, and your body obeyed. This is the same principle at work in every area of your life. The subconscious does not distinguish sharply between what is physically happening and what is vividly imagined and emotionally believed. It simply follows the strongest imprint. You practice the law of substitution, gently replacing "I can't" with "I am learning." It's hopeless with "there is a way, even if I do not see it yet." "I am alone" with "I am supported by visible and invisible forces." You refine your scientific prayers, making them more specific, more aligned with the qualities of life you truly desire: peace of mind, loving connection, meaningful contribution, vibrant health. You continue your visualizations not as rigid rituals, but as living experiences. You let yourself feel the joy of a healed mind, the ease of a balanced body, the serenity of a heart in tune with itself. You perform emotional alchemy whenever old states arise, consciously choosing the higher frequency. You guard your sacred desires with secrecy and silence, speaking of them only when guided, and then to those who can support your vision. Little by little, a new identity emerges. Not the identity of someone pretending to be perfect, but of someone rooted in a deeper truth. I am a creative center within a universe governed by law. I am not powerless. I am not at the mercy of random forces. I am a participant, and my primary instrument of participation is my own consciousness. As this understanding matures, your relationship with your subconscious becomes one of partnership. You no longer fear it as a wild beast of impulses. You approach it as a loyal servant that simply needs clear, consistent, compassionate direction. You stop injecting it with criticism. I'm so stupid, I'm such a failure. And instead feed it encouragement. I am capable. I am growing. I am guided. I am worthy of wellness and peace. The subconscious, hearing these new commands, begins to rearrange your inner world accordingly. It sends different neurotransmitters, orchestrates different hormonal patterns, shifts your posture, brightens your gaze. People around you may not know why, but He will feel the difference. Your entire field, mental, emotional, even electromagnetic, takes on a new tone. You still encounter challenges. Life continues to move in cycles, but your response is different now. When you face difficulty, you remember, this is not a verdict on my worth, this is an invitation to deepen my alignment. Instead of spiraling into old scripts, you pause, breathe, and reprogram. You affirm, this too is subject to change. The same power that healed me before is present now. My subconscious is my ally. My thoughts are my tools. Divine intelligence is my source. And there will be moments, perhaps quiet, perhaps ordinary on the surface, when you realize that healing has occurred. You catch yourself reacting with calm where once you would have exploded. You notice that a pain which haunted you has faded, or that a pattern that plagued your relationships no longer appears. The change feels natural, almost obvious, as though it had always been that way. That is the mark of true subconscious transformation. It does not feel forced. It feels like coming home. In those moments you may feel a wave of gratitude, not just for the relief, but for the journey itself. For the nights you chose a new thought when the old ones screamed. For the mornings you spoke gentle I am statements when despair tempted you to echo its words instead. For the courage it took to trust an invisible process, to believe in a divine blueprint for your life, even when the outer structure still resembled the old pattern. The power to heal has always been in you, not as a personal trophy, but as a quality of the life that breathes you. Your subconscious mind has always been the bridge, the silent reservoir of creative potential. Now you know how to speak to it, how to guide it, how to cooperate with its laws. You have learned that belief is the law of life, that what you accept as true in the quiet of your own mind, with feeling and repetition, must find expression in your body and affairs. As you continue on, you do so not as someone frantically trying to fix themselves, but as someone steadily awakening to their true nature. You walk through your days with an inner whisper. I am one with the infinite intelligence that created galaxies and cells. That same wisdom is active in me. I now give it permission, through my thoughts and feelings, to bring forth harmony, wellness, and peace. In the depth of your being, a new conviction settles, soft but immovable. You realize that no matter what appears on the surface, the creative power remains within. Circumstances may rise and fall, moods may shift, bodies may age, seasons of life may change, but the law of consciousness continues unbroken. Inner first, outer second, cause in mind, effect in experience, seed in the subconscious, fruit in the world. You understand now that your greatest work is internal, not in a way that isolates you, but in a way that frees you. For as you heal inwardly, as you clean the lens of your perception, as you align your subconscious programs with love, peace, and abundance, you naturally radiate that change outward. Your presence becomes a blessing. Your words carry a different weight. Your very being whispers to others, there is hope, there is power within you too. And so, as this chapter of your listening comes to a close, you stand at the threshold of another kind of listening, the listening that happens within, in the silence between words. The subconscious, the silent creative force, is still paying attention. It is ready to act on the next impressions you give it. You do not need to rush. You do not need to force. You need only remember, gently and often, the truth you have heard. You already have the power to heal. You already possess, in the depths of your subconscious mind, the connection to infinite intelligence, the inner doctor, the divine blueprint of wholeness. With every scientific prayer, every visualization, every act of emotional alchemy, every quiet substitution of a loving thought for a fearful one, you turn that power from potential into expression. Let this realization settle into you now, not as noise, but as a calm certainty. Transformation begins with a shift in consciousness. It begins the moment you decide to think differently about yourself, about your body, about your life. It begins now, if you choose, and as you choose, your subconscious hears, responds, and creates accordingly, silently, faithfully, in harmony with the laws that have always governed mind and universe. Rest in that certainty, walk with it, speak from it, and let the healing that has already begun continue to unfold from the invisible depths of your subconscious into every visible area of your life. Modern research calls it neuroplasticity, the brain's ability to rewire itself according to repeated experience. But experience is not just what occurs outside you, it is what you repeatedly dwell on inside. The inner movie you replay, the self-talk you allow, the emotional tones you revisit day after day, these are experiences too, and the brain rewires itself around them. You live inside a mental factory. Thoughts arrive on the conveyor belt of consciousness. The subconscious takes them, stamps them with emotion, and sends them into the deeper machinery of your being. From there they become habits, reflexes, expectations, a posture of the nervous system, an electromagnetic signature that your heart and brain emit into the field around you. You walk through life radiating a certain tone, a frequency, and the world responds. The truth is, much of your suffering has not been a punishment from life, but a reflection of these unconscious patterns. Not your fault, but your inheritance. As a child, you watched how the adults around you reacted to money, to illness, to conflict, to love. Their fears, their beliefs, their statements about how life is slipped like seeds into your subconscious soil. You did not question them. Children rarely do. The subconscious is wide open in those early years, like a garden accepting every seed thrown into it, roses, weeds, and all. Over time, these seeds became a thick, tangled forest of assumptions. You might have discovered yourself saying things like, "That's just the way I am," or "In our family, nothing comes easy," without realizing you were repeating a kind of hypnotic script. The subconscious took those words and built pathways in your brain, grooves of expectation, emotional circuitry that fired the same way again and again. But there is a greater law at work, and you are hearing it now. The law is simple. What you impress upon the subconscious mind you inevitably express in your body and circumstances. With every thought soaked in feeling, you write instructions into the very fabric of your being. The subconscious is not your enemy. It is your most loyal servant. It is also your inner doctor, your spiritual engineer, your invisible gardener. And once you begin to speak to it intelligently, lovingly, scientifically, it responds with astonishing fidelity. You see, prayer is not begging a distant power to intervene. In its highest form, prayer is scientific mental conditioning. It is the deliberate, repeated impressing of ideas of harmony, wholeness, and abundance onto the subconscious. It is the art of assuming the feeling of the wish fulfilled, not as fantasy, but as a quiet inner certainty that reshapes the brain, the body, and the vibration you broadcast into the invisible. When you pray in this way, you are not trying to force the universe to do your will. You are aligning your consciousness with a divine pattern already present within you. You are saying to the infinite intelligence that flows through every cell, "I agree with your design. I accept your version of me, whole, at peace, guided, provided for." In that moment, you cease arguing with life and begin cooperating with it. Modern science confirms what ancient teachers knew. The nervous system cannot remain in survival mode and healing mode simultaneously. You cannot be in a constant state of fight or flight and also repair tissue, balance hormones, and regenerate cells at optimal levels. The subconscious mind, when saturated with fear, keeps the body wired for threat. But the same subconscious, when reconditioned with feelings of safety, trust, and inner peace, signals the body to return to growth and restoration. So the question before you now is not, Do I have the power to heal? You do. The question is, will I learn to speak to that power in its own language? The language of the subconscious is not willpower. It is not strain or struggle. It does not respond to gritted teeth and forced affirmations spoken in a state of anxiety. It responds to feeling, to images, to repetition imbued with calm conviction. It responds to the quiet, steady assumption of a new truth. Picture, for a moment, a woman lying awake at night, staring at the ceiling. Her body is exhausted, but her mind is caught in a loop. Old memories of betrayal, fears about the future, the ache of a diagnosis she carries like a secret stone in her chest. She is not thinking in words alone. She sees images, herself growing weaker, bills piling up, loved ones walking away. Her subconscious does not argue. It accepts those scenes as instructions, shaping her nervous system, her hormones, her expectations for the coming day. Now observe a subtle shift. She learns, perhaps through words like these, that the minutes before sleep and the moments upon waking are gateways, portals into the subconscious factory floor. The brain's waves slow, the usual guards of critical thinking relax. The subconscious, always listening, is especially receptive in this twilight state between waking and sleeping. She decides to experiment. On this night, as she lies in bed, she does something different. Instead of rehearsing fear, she speaks gently within herself, not with desperation, but with a new tone of authority and tenderness. Infinite intelligence within me, she whispers in the silence of her own mind. You know how to restore and renew. Every cell in my body listens to your wisdom now. I am safe. I am guided. I am being healed in ways I understand and in ways I do not yet see. I accept that something good is happening within me now. As she speaks, she does not merely recite the phrases. She lets them sink, allowing herself to feel what it would be like if they were already true. She imagines her body bathed in a soft golden light, every organ cooperating, every cell intelligently repairing. She sees herself waking in the morning with a lighter step, a clearer mind. She does this, not once, but night after night, as she drifts into sleep. This is the sleeping method, nighttime programming of the subconscious mind. It is simple, yet profoundly powerful, because it uses the natural rhythms of your brain and the openness of your subconscious to plant new seeds in the garden of your inner life. When you fall asleep impressed with images of wholeness and words of peace, your subconscious works on those impressions for hours, like a tireless gardener tending the soil while you rest. Neuroscience would describe this as leveraging the brain's nocturnal processes of memory consolidation and neural pruning. Memories and impressions from the day are strengthened or weakened during sleep. By repeatedly ending your waking hours with images of healing and thoughts of harmony, you encourage your brain to reinforce those pathways. You are, quite literally, reshaping your neural architecture as you drift into the dark. The same principle governs every form of scientific prayer. To pray scientifically is to command the subconscious with calm authority, using affirmative statements rather than pleas. Instead of saying, "Please heal me, I am so broken," you say, "The healing presence of life is active in me now. I am aligned with the pattern of wholeness. My body is the temple of a wise intelligence that knows exactly what to do." At first, your old thoughts may rebel. A voice within might protest, "But look at the evidence. You are not well. You are in pain. You are frightened." That voice is not the voice of truth. It is the echo of old conditioning, the residue of the mental factory's former orders. The subconscious is merely showing you what it has been previously programmed to expect. Here the law of substitution becomes your ally. You cannot directly stop a thought by fighting it. Resistance only gives it more of your attention, and what you attend to, you feed. But you can replace a thought. When a negative idea or image arises, you gently, repeatedly choose another. You might notice yourself thinking, "I always get worse," and immediately say within, "No, that was the old pattern. I am now choosing a new one. Life is moving me into greater balance and ease. Every day In every way, I am healing. You may need to substitute the new idea dozens of times at first. That is all right. You are not failing, you are training. Each substitution is like carving a fresh path through a forest. At first you stumble through branches and thorns, but with each step the path becomes clearer, smoother, more natural. This is how new neural pathways are formed, through repetition, through emotional engagement, through focused attention. You are not just thinking differently, you are sculpting your brain, refining the electromagnetic patterns that your thoughts generate, altering the vibrational frequency of your inner world. Your subconscious loves images. It responds to visualization like a builder responds to a blueprint. When you close your eyes and see yourself as you desire to be, calm, whole, energized, joyful, you are handing the inner architect a plan. Vague wishes bring vague results. Clear images, saturated with feeling, give the subconscious precise instructions. So, gently now, allow a visualization to unfold. If you wish, you may even close your eyes as you listen inwardly. See yourself not as you have been in your worst moments, but as you would be if healing had already taken place. See your posture, upright yet relaxed. Notice the ease in your shoulders, the softness in your face. Feel the steady rhythm of your breath, the warmth in your hands, the quiet in your chest. Observe yourself moving through a day, perhaps walking outside, perhaps engaging with someone you love, with a serenity that surprises you. It feels natural, as though this has always been your state. Let this scene become more vivid. Engage all your senses. Hear the sounds around you in that healed future. Birds, voices, the hum of life. Smell the air. Feel the ground under your feet. Most importantly, feel the emotion, the gratitude of someone who knows the worst has passed, who understands that a divine intelligence guided the entire process. Do not strain to create this. Allow it. Let it arise as playfully as a daydream, but anchor it with sincere feeling. What you are doing in this moment is more than imagination. It is emotional alchemy. You are transmuting fear into trust by shifting the images and feelings you circulate within. You are taking the raw material of anxiety, the dense lead of old memories, and offering them to a higher pattern. In response, the subconscious begins to recalibrate. The nervous system receives new signals of safety. The body relaxes its constant vigilance and allows deeper restoration. Emotional alchemy is not the denial of pain. It is not pretending that nothing hurts or that nothing is wrong. Rather, it is acknowledging, yes, I feel afraid, yes, I have suffered, and then choosing to introduce a new, more powerful feeling, peace, gratitude, love, into the same space. You can think of it as adding light to a dark room. You do not fight the darkness, you simply turn on a lamp. The darkness recedes not through struggle, but through the presence of something stronger. The subconscious, always listening, registers which feelings you dwell in most. If you frequently bathe it in resentment, he assumes the world is hostile and primes your body to defend. If you repeatedly soak it in self-pity, it takes that as a directive and attracts corresponding experiences. But if you return again and again to inner states of forgiveness, appreciation, and quiet trust, it begins to build a very different reality around you. The law is impartial. It expresses what you impress. You may notice old patterns of stress rising as you begin this work. Perhaps your chest tightens when you speak a new affirmation. Perhaps an inner voice whispers, "This is foolish. Nothing will change." That is simply the inertia of previous conditioning. Just as a muscle grown weak protests when you first begin to exercise, so does the mind resist when you introduce a new direction. Be patient. You are not fighting yourself. You are re-educating yourself. Consider another brief story. A man lives with a chronic sense of financial struggle. No matter how much he works, he ends each month with the same tension in his stomach, the same worries, the same phrase circling in his mind. There's never enough. He inherited this thought from his parents, who spoke it often. To him it feels like description, not declaration. He believes he is merely stating facts. But the subconscious does not distinguish between fact and belief the way the intellect does. To the subconscious, repetition is proof. The more he says, "There's never enough," the deeper the groove becomes in his mental circuitry, and the more his behavior, his perception, and his opportunities subtly align with that script. One day he learns of universal law, the law that whatever he unites with in feeling and belief must, by the nature of mind, find a way to express. He decides to experiment, not by ignoring his bills or abandoning responsibility, but by changing the internal factory orders. Several times a day, and especially at night, he affirms quietly, "Infinite supply flows to me in perfect ways. I am provided for. I am guided to wise decisions and right opportunities. There is always more than enough for my true needs." At first, he feels like a liar. The inner critic sneers, "Look at your bank account." But he persists, not with frantic effort, but with steady, gentle insistence. He accompanies his words with visualization, seeing accounts in balance, imagining the relief of paying expenses with ease, feeling gratitude as if the provision were already here. Slowly he notices subtle shifts. An idea for extra income arrives seemingly out of nowhere. An old debt is forgiven. A new opportunity appears that he once would have dismissed. His nervous system, no longer locked in chronic fear, becomes more creative, more perceptive. He begins to cooperate with possibilities he was previously too tense to see. The outer changes are real, but they began with an inner substitution, with a new mental law accepted by the subconscious. This is not magic in the childish sense, but law in the spiritual sense. You broadcast through your dominant thoughts and feelings a kind of vibrational field, an electromagnetic thought form, and life interacts with you at that level. The quantum field of possibilities stands ready, but the version you collapse into experience is the one that matches the consciousness you maintain. Here we arrive at a subtle but crucial truth. Secrecy and silence amplify this work. When you first plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every few hours to show it to others, to ask their opinion, to check whether it has sprouted yet. The seed requires darkness, depth, and time. So does your mental blueprint. When you are reprogramming your subconscious, especially with desires that feel tender and important, healing, reconciliation, profound abundance, it is wise to keep them sacred and internal at first. Speak your scientific prayers in the quiet of your own mind. Hold your visualizations in the sanctuary of your heart. If you talk too freely about them with people who scoff or radiate doubt, their skepticism can stir up your old patterns. Your subconscious, highly suggestible, may then mix their fears with your vision. In silence, your inner conviction has the chance to grow roots. When the plant is strong, it can withstand the winds of others' opinions. Until then, cherish it in the secret place. As you travel deeper into this work, you may begin to sense that you are not doing it alone. The sense of a cold, mechanical universe starts to soften. You feel, perhaps for the first time in many years, that there is an intelligence moving within you and around you, infinitely wise, infinitely loving, and intimately aware of you. This divine intelligence is not separate from your own deeper mind. It expresses through you as intuition, as inner guidance, as sudden knowing. When you quiet the noise of fear, you can hear it. Your body is part of this expression. Somatic healing, the process of releasing stored tension and trauma from the body, is not apart from spiritual work. It is one of its primary theaters. As you soothe your subconscious with new beliefs of safety, your muscles may tremble and relax, your breath may deepen, old pain may surface and then dissolve in waves. This is the nervous system recalibrating. When you place a hand over your heart and affirm, "I am safe now, it is over, I am supported," you are speaking directly to the body-mind, the union of cells and subconscious. The electromagnetic field of your heart, measurable and real, shifts as you do this, sending new signals to your brain and organs. You might pause even now and take a slow breath. Notice the sensation of air entering and leaving. Feel the weight of your body, the contact points with the chair or bed. Recognize that while your conscious mind listens to these words, another presence within you, the deeper you, is absorbing their meaning in silence. Address that deeper self gently. I am willing to be healed. I am willing to think new thoughts. I am willing to release what no longer serves me. You do not need to know how to accomplish this. That is the function of the inner doctor, the infinite intelligence that designed your body, that orchestrates billions of cellular processes every second without your conscious effort. Your task is simpler, to agree with that intelligence, give it mental images and emotional states that harmonize with its purpose. Health, peace, balance, these are not distant goals. They are the default settings of life when interference is removed. Much of your healing is not about adding something new, but about ceasing to send conflicting messages. The subconscious cannot easily reconcile "I want to be well" with constant statements of "nothing ever improves" or "this will never change." It obeys the stronger, more emotionally charged command. So you begin to take responsibility, not in a harsh, self-critical way, but in a liberated way. You understand? I may not control every outer event, but I have absolute authority over the inner meaning I assign to it. I cannot always choose what happens, but I can choose what I repeat to myself about what happens, and that repetition becomes law in my subconscious. This realization marks the turning point in your journey. You move from feeling like a victim of life to a participant in its creative process. You awaken from the trance of "this is just who I am" into the deeper recognition that who you are is not your history, not your habits, not your diagnoses, not your bank balance, not your mistakes. Who you are is an individualized expression of universal intelligence, a focal point of consciousness with the power to direct the immense energy of your subconscious mind. Notice what this does to your sense of identity. When you wake in the morning and immediately think, "I am tired, I am broken, I am stuck," you are not merely describing a state, you are creating a self-image, a mask the subconscious will strive to maintain. It believes what you repeatedly attach the words "I am" to. So, with tenderness and patience, you begin to speak differently. You might wake and say, even if your body feels heavy, "I am an expression of life itself. I am guided today. I am learning to cooperate with my own healing. I am willing to see myself as whole." These words, if spoken with gentleness rather than strain, begin to chip away at the old mask. The subconscious hears the new "I am" and slowly rearranges the inner factory to match. Do not be concerned if your outer world does not shift instantly. Seeds planted today break the soil later. Trust in the law of growth. When doubt arises, and it will, you can meet it with a simple inner response. I do not need to know how. I only need to continue aligning my thoughts and feelings with the reality I choose. The infinite mind knows the way. At night you revisit the sleeping method, perhaps expanding it into a little ritual. As you lie down, you release the day with a breath. You mentally forgive yourself for any lapses, any negative thoughts spoken or entertained. You might say, "I now release this day to the wisdom within me. Whatever I did not handle well, I place in your hands. Correct it in my mind, heal it in my body, guide me to better choices tomorrow." Then you enter your scientific prayer. You affirm quietly with feeling, "All the forces of life are working together for my good. While I sleep, my subconscious aligns ever. I sell every system, every circumstance with harmony. I am being healed and restored on every level. I accept this now." Let images accompany these words, gentle, soothing images of light moving through your body, of roots growing deeper into solid ground, of a calm sea spreading in all directions. You may notice your body softening as you do this. The jaw loosens, the belly releases, the hands uncurl. This is your nervous system shifting from hypervigilance toward rest. As you cross that threshold into sleep, these last impressions enter the laboratory of your subconscious. All night long it will work with what you have given it, comparing these new patterns with the old and gradually rewriting the script. Over days and weeks, if you persist with kindness toward yourself, you may find that your reactions to stress begin to change. Situations that once triggered panic now elicit a milder response. You have not suppressed the fear. You have altered the underlying program. The subconscious, feeling safer because of the new beliefs you have installed, no longer floods your body with the same levels of alarm. Instead, it allows more energy to flow toward healing, creativity, and connection. You are learning emotional alchemy. When anger arises, you do not lash out at yourself for feeling it. You acknowledge it. Yes, this is here. And then ask, what higher state am I willing to move into? Perhaps it is understanding, perhaps it is compassion, perhaps it is simply a calmer neutrality. You breathe, you place a hand on your heart or your abdomen, and you invite that new state in with a gentle phrase, I choose peace. I choose to see this differently. I choose to give my subconscious images of harmony, not war. With each such moment, you step further into your role as conscious creator. You are no longer dropping seeds into the garden carelessly. You are selecting them. You are filtering your words, not out of fear, but out of respect for the tremendous creative power they carry when united with feeling. You are becoming, quietly and steadily, the healer you have been seeking. Understand this clearly. The healing power does not belong to your ego. It is not a personal achievement. It is the nature of life itself, moving through you, yet it awaits your cooperation. The subconscious is the instrument through which this healing intelligence operates in your individual experience. When you feed it thoughts of despair, it must work with despair. When you feed it thoughts of possibility, it can work wonders. You do not abandon conventional forms of help. You consult the doctors, the therapists, the specialists as needed, but you do so from a new place. You are no longer placing all authority outside yourself. You recognize that every treatment, every medicine, every technique is, in essence, a channel, an outward form through which the inner healing intelligence can operate more efficiently. You support these external means by aligning your thoughts with health rather than fear, thereby removing internal resistance and allowing the process to unfold more gracefully. There may come a day when you lose. Okay, back and notice that the you who began this journey, the one drowning in stress, hypnotized by limitation, ruled by old beliefs, feels like a character from another lifetime. You will recognize that the circumstances did not magically rearrange themselves from the outside in. Rather, you changed from the inside out, and the circumstances slipped into new positions around the pattern of your being. The inner world creates the outer world. This is not a slogan. It is a description of how consciousness operates. The subconscious is the bridge between inner and outer. It receives impressions from your thoughts and feelings and projects them, like a slide projector casting images upon a screen, into the events, relationships, and physical conditions of your life. If you dislike the picture on the screen, you do not smash the screen. You change the slide. That slide is your habitual state of mind. Now your work becomes a way of life. Each day you attend to your mental factory, your inner garden, your silent engine. You notice what thoughts arrive, and instead of letting them run wild, you choose